All right, sorry guys, we're back. Hope y'all come back. Come back. I'm sorry guys, but y'all, let's continue where we were. Let's continue where we were.
Yeah, we were talking about defensive backs. We were talking about Kool-Aid McKinstry returning and Terry and Arnold. And another guy that I think is going to get a lot of buzz this year, and I think Josh can back me up on this, is Earl Little. Earl Little probably going to be our new star player, especially with Malachi Moore moving back to safety. We're going to look for him to be that new Brian Branch type player, and I think he's going to make a tremendous impact on this team and hopefully be a shining star at that position. Josh, can you give us a little bit more insight on Earl Little and maybe his recruitment process and where he's been and how he got to Alabama?
Yeah, I'm real high on Earl Little. You know, he's coming from the same school as like Dallas Turner. Not in Florida, same school as Patrick Surtain at American Heritage, pumping out D1 prospects like it's nothing. So, very highly touted school. Earl Little wasn't the highest recruit, but I mean he was a very good talent. You know, fringe top 100 player in his class. In a very good football state in Florida, so you know he saw good competition. I'm gonna look up right now what he's listed at under Alabama because he was listed at 175 out of high school. I'm sure he's put on a little bit of weight.
Absolutely.
Okay, 6'1", 186 right now for Earl Little. Yeah, I think he's really going to assume that role. I think Malachi is going to go full-time safety now. But I think Earl can really step up and give something at maybe the coverage role that Malachi lacks in that we saw got exposed against Tennessee. That even Branch struggled with at times. So I think that's going to be a real thing for Earl, because we really don't have anyone really that's played much at star other than Malachi, and Malachi seems to be taking that safety role. So I'm pretty positive about Earl Little. I think he's going to have a very good chance to play and show what he's got. Sutton?
Yeah. I agree completely with everything you said. Another guy that we need to watch out for, I think, if an injury occurs, God forbid, at the outside position, either Kool-Aid or Terrian, I think is Des Ricks, the new incoming freshman defensive back. He looks a very promising defensive back, and he's got all the tools that you need. Got the speed, got the agility, got all that. Maybe even look for him as a possible returner at some point in his career at Alabama. So I think he's got a very promising recruit that we got coming in this year. Look for him to flash a little bit on the second team defense at 8A. Do you have anyone, maybe a dark horse, Nick Saban Jr., that we could look out for in this cornerback room?
I'm gonna say, where's Jaleel Hurley? Is he working out with the cornerbacks right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to kind of see what he can do, man. Young guy, true freshman, but I know he has a high upside. I feel like he has a high upside to him, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he can come in and, not saying not necessarily a dark horse, but get some time on there, get some looks on the field or whatever. But what about Antonio Kite? I feel like a lot of people forget about him, and I think he can be a dark horse. He has the experience now as well, and I feel like he can be a dark horse, pushing for some second string playing time.
Yeah, Alabama's really gone hard at in-state corners over the years. Kool-Aid, to name a few, Marlon back in the day. Now Antonio Kite's switched over to corner from safety. Coming in next year will be Joe Mbakwe, who will play corner. A.J. Harris went to Georgia last year. He was one of the premier five-star talents in last year's class. So Alabama's really turning out a lot of good cornerback prospects in-state, and Alabama's getting a lot of them too. I think Kite's main thing is how he transitions. We saw Arnold, show some lacks from being a safety in high school. I think that's what Kite will need to see from Kite, and the coaching staff will need to see to Kite. But I think he's probably the first guy they'd sub in at corner, or that maybe they move Little over to corner and play there and move someone else over to star. But I think Antonio Kite, recruits an athlete out of high school, Anderson High School. If they're going to put him at cornerback, I think they obviously see the tools in him to be a good coverage guy, Big, long, athletic guy. So I think Antonio Kite's going to do pretty well this year and grow in his role.
Yeah.
I know we hadn't talked about safeties yet, but Josh knows a guy that I would say I'm high on, not necessarily high on, but a guy I definitely have followed in his career through high school and now in college here at Alabama is former Lynette quarterback Christian Story. Now he's playing safety for Alabama. If in my opinion, if there happened to be an injury on the defensive side of the ball, like let's just throw out a hypothetical. Let's say Kool-Aid gets hurt. I would expect to see Earl Whittle make that move from star to DB. Then Malachi Moore back down to his star position that he's very familiar with, a guy that played there for 3 years, and then put a tenured guy like Christian Story in the back end. I think that would be the most likely move if there were to be an injury in the secondary, which that is a big reshuffling. But you never know. A guy like Antonio Kite or a freshman like Des Ricks or a redshirt freshman like Traquan Pickens could come in and really wow the coaches at A-Day and tomorrow's scrimmage. So I think it's a good thing that we're very deep at this position, especially at safety and at DB. But we're also very young, so it's a very promising future for this secondary here at Alabama.
Dad, piggyback off what you said about Christian Story. Somebody I was high on again. Coming into this season, like you said, played quarterback in high school, but I just remember the past A-Day games that he was always making plays. He was always in the right place at the right time. So coming into this season, I was really wanted to see could he make a push for a starting safety role. But when I see they're working Malachi more back there and Caleb Downs is no doubter starter day one, it was like you kind of exit that out the plan. But I still wouldn't doubt that I feel like he will see the field away a lot more this season than he has in the past, at least.
And I definitely agree with you. Alabama runs the dime defense very little, nickel dime very little. So that money position that is used very rarely, every now and again, I can see Christian maybe taking a role in playing that money spot. It's kind of like the star in a way. It's typically a safety's going to play it. So especially if Christian's not on the field at the beginning with Malachi and Caleb in the back, I could see him maybe taking a smaller role in playing that money spot when we're going into a dime situation. When it's an obvious passing down, I think that he can maybe play a role in that style of defense.
And I think Christian's work on special teams will be highly valued too. I just looked at his profile. I didn't realize over the last 2 years he's played in 25 games. Most of those coming on special teams.
Oh, wow.
But we've seen, only recording 5 tackles, but we've seen guys find a way to get into the starting lineup on their side of the ball. Ja'Cory Brooks, from playing well in special teams and giving effort when given a chance to get on the field. And I think Story could play. I think if you see an injury at corner or safety, Story will be the first safety in, and he will be the 6th DB we go to on this team out of our 5-man starting group.
Absolutely. And then that brings us to our last. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say it brings us to our last position group, which is the safeties. Losing three safeties that have contributed for such a long time, done very well for the University of Alabama. Brian Branch, I don't know if y'all saw the stat, but no PFF rated player that has gone into the NFL draft has ever had the highest percentage tackle rate than Brian Branch, and that's including linebackers. Brian Branch only missed on 2.3% of his tackles in college in 3 years. That's an insane stat. Just shows you how much we're missing there at the star position with him. Obviously, Jordan Battle, a very tenured, experienced guy. Love Jordan Battle, great ambassador for the University of Alabama. And then DeMarco Helms. Say what you want to say about his coverage ability. Not the best. Got torn up pretty bad against Tennessee, but a very good downhill tackler and hitter.
Yes.
So got seniors Malachi Moore and obviously Christian Story coming back. Another Devontae Smith, not the Heisman winner, but the safety Devontae Smith, and then
practically the same thing.
Practically, and then redshirt freshman Jake Pope representing Buford, Georgia. Probably won't see the field much this year, but definitely a guy to keep a lookout for in the 8A game. And obviously, we know the situation with Tony Mitchell. Not really sure what's going to happen with him this year. Still kind of pending that the charges in his case. Going to see how that works out. If I had to guess, he'll probably be suspended for the whole season, and we won't hear much of him in 2023. Hopefully, he'll do what he needs to do to get back on the field, get right with the coaching staff and the law, and hopefully we'll see him in 2024. But two newcomers, obviously, Caleb Downs probably going to be a starter, already running with the first teams in his second practice at Alabama. And then Brayson Hubbard, another true freshman incomer. Probably won't see the field much this year, but a guy to look out for at A-Day. We were just talking about Caleb Downs. What kind of impact is he going to bring this defense as a true freshman starter, presumably?
Oh, me personally, I think the kid has what it takes. Like, I'm not calling him a Mika Fitzpatrick, but I think he can have the type of impact. He's a young kid that he knows football. He knows football. He's a dog. And I think with him getting second team practicing with the first team, the second practice of the scrimmage, that tells you a lot. That tells you a lot what Saban thinks of him. That tells you a lot about him, period. So I think he can have a tremendous impact. I think it could be Mika Fitzpatrick-ish. I'm not going to, that's a big thing to say that he can be a Mika Fitzpatrick. So he has to prove that. But I think he can be that dude in the secondary that we need. And by the end of the season, it's going to be a no-doubter that the reason why we put him out there, I feel like.
Yeah, if you guys watched him in high school, he was playing running back too. He is so versatile of a player. I don't think he'll be as versatile as Minka was at Alabama and used in that way at corner. I don't think he'll ever be used at corner. If we ever had to use him at star, I think we would. But I think the way he comes and has a role at safety from day one, I think he'll probably be a 3-year starter at safety. Golly, there's been very few players that have come in this early and been ready. Comes from a very good family. His brother is a near first-round draft pick, Josh Downs from North Carolina. So he's got that football in his blood, the competitive nature. He's got someone to look up to. And I think really the big thing with, Downs and Malachi, guys that haven't really played, safety really, truly, it's going to be the communication factor. They're in the back of the field. They got to make sure everyone in front of them is good. Got to keep the ball in front of them. Can't allow explosive plays. Other than Tennessee, I thought we were pretty good at that last year. There weren't too many explosive plays on us. I think that's a testament to the corners we had last year. I think that's a testament to the back end and Battle and Helms. I think Downs has also really grown into his body too. He looks a lot stronger than he was in high school. So if he can be a thumper and get downhill, force fumbles, get interceptions, read the field, I think Downs has the impact to be one of the best players on our defense this year. Certainly one of the better ones in the secondary. Not, obviously Kool-Aid's the front runner and the headliner of that group. Yeah. But I think Caleb Downs with Travaris Robinson, now being his position coach, will be a revolutionary type player for this secondary.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think Caleb's going to have a huge impact. Tom, take some notes, man. You're going to be hearing from these guys in the SEC championship. You might not even make it to the SEC championship. You never know. You better watch out for the Tennessee Volunteers up there. So, I think Alabama. We have a lot of problems, but I think Georgia's got some stuff to worry about too. I mean, it's going to be a tough offseason replacing some of the guys they've got. So, but. Yeah, like you said, Josh, the safety. I don't think Caleb's going to be quite as versatile as Minka. I wouldn't say that's a fair comparison to him, but I do think he's going to be a dominant force on this defense.
And he has a chance to make an impact as early as Minka did. I think that's where the comparisons are drawn, and how similar he is to Saban as far as being ready, mindset, competitive nature. I think that's where the Minka comparisons go. And it's high praise for someone like that.
Absolutely.
Compared to Minka. And I think there's not many players you can probably compare Caleb Downs to at this point in his career because he's that good.
Yeah, for sure. He's probably going to be an all SEC freshman. I would think the same of James Smith too at the D-line position. I think we're going to have two guys on the defense. So really looking
Yes.
forward to seeing those two guys this year.
Yes, I agree. I've been hearing a lot about Quay Russo too, so I'm expecting like I was saying that it can be potentially 3. Matter of fact, 5 true freshmen by the end of the season, like offensive, defense wise, that can make an impact on this team potentially.
Who are those 5? I know you're big on Jalen Hale.
Say that again.
Who are those 5 you think?
Keon Keeley.
Yep.
Keon Keeley. Caleb Downs, of course. Smith. James Smith. Russo.
Proctor.
Yes. Who did I say the first time? Who did I say?
Said Keeley.
That's who I meant. Because one of those names, that's who I meant. Proctor, Caden Proctor.
Yeah.
One of those names.
I definitely think Justice Haynes is going to have a bigger, just in terms of freshman, he's going to have a big. He's going to have a big, impact on the season. I think just towards the end of the year, more likely. Obviously, Caleb Downs and James Smith. I think if someone goes down on the O line, Proctor's that next guy up. So Proctor could have a big impact. I don't necessarily see Russo having a huge impact this year. I think he's just going to be a little buried on the depth chart. But we'll definitely hear from him in future years. And then Keon's a wild card in my opinion. I think coming
Matter of fact, that's who I meant. I meant Proctor for Keon. That's who I meant.
Yeah,
that's who I meant. Proctor.
I think Keeley's it's gonna be tough for him not coming in the spring because he's only gonna have fall camp.
Bro, that kid's ready. I mean, that kid.
I know he's ready. I know he's ready, but that position is like we've got so much.
It's loaded, man.
It's gonna be tough for him to.
Hey, hold on, real quick. Y'all keep going.
Yeah, for Keeley, just like I think he's that ready to come and make an impact. When you're talking about the backups at outside linebacker, it's Keanu, Quindarius. Those are the older guys in the room. But Keeley is a massive, massive dude. He's the number 2 player out of this class for a reason. He was Alabama's highest rated recruit, higher than Caleb Downs. He's 6'6". He's one of the tallest, most imposing recruits I've been able to see pass by when they walked into the stadium. I think Keon won't be an every down player, but I think he will be a specialty player that when he gets on the field, it's going to be tough for the coaches to say, we got to play him every down, And I think he's going to be so good, he's going to be the guy next year. I think he's going to be the headlining guy the next year. And I think Keeley will do something crazy. And we've seen for SEC all-freshman teams, you don't have to play that much. We talked about on the offense depth chart prediction last week. Javion Cohen won from playing backup time. If I'm talking about guys that can be SEC all-freshman team just because of how much they're going to play as freshmen, I think Justice Haynes is one. I'm not going to say Jalen Hale, but I'm going to say Justice Haynes on offense. Caden Proctor will be the 2 offense, and then you got Downs and Keeley. So I'll go with 4 personally. Okay. I think Russo can have an impact on special teams. If I did have a 5th, it would be because if Will Reichard was leaving, but because Connor Talty, I'm pretty high on him. But yeah, but Connor Talty's going to be sitting behind Will this year. So I think we'll have 4. I'm really happy with the group we got. Reuben Owens is probably the other premier running back coming to the SEC, going to Texas A&M. And Ole Miss has got a highly ranked recruit guy, and then Jeremiah Cobb's going to the other school in the state. So and Caleb Jackson going to LSU, another guy Alabama recruited. So I think Justice really got a good chance to be that guy on offense that makes SEC all freshman.
Absolutely.
So who do you think?
I'm going to go 5 guys. I'm going to go Justice Haynes. I'm going to go Caden Proctor. I'm going to go James Smith. I'm going to go Caleb Downs. And then Keon.
Oh, I meant James Smith too. James Smith, yeah. 5.
Yeah,
I got 5 too.
5 guys I think are going to be
watch-outs
for the SEC.
I've been praising James Smith all day, and I forgot it.
It's so funny because when we talk about this, like, you forget players and you start adding extra players that you wouldn't even talk about like before. because before I brought this up, I had a list of 5 earlier this week. Then my mind been so discombobulated about stuff going away. But I think about other players when you talk about this depth chart, man.
Absolutely, and that's the embarrassment and spoil of riches that Alabama has. Many teams would love to have the problems. We've said this many times. There's 120 teams out there that love to have the problems Alabama has, yet we still look at them as problems. So just know that as long as Nick Saban's here, the man has earned our trust. So just trust him. He's going to do the right thing that he needs to do.
Yeah, on that Richard Young topic from Eric, he's got an interesting situation. I think he will play this year because running back is a position that has a lot of wear and tear. But he is one of the 4 guys coming in the summer, so he is a little delayed behind the other 4 running backs right now. I was really big on him because he was probably our biggest recruiter last year. I stopped him one time when he was walking by us. I said, "You going to get Keon?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's on the way." So Richard's one of those guys that he was a fan favorite as a recruit. But I think he's got a real good chance, to show what he has next year. Some running back recruits, no matter how highly ranked they don't play early. Brian Robinson was shoved behind Najee, Damian, all those other guys. Jerome Ford, his first few seasons. So,
yeah.
And then Brian Robinson, had a great season his senior year when he waited his turn. I think Richard Young will have a very good career at Alabama. I don't think it's one to expect immediately just because how loaded our running back is right now. But I think he will see flashes, kind of like we saw out of J.M. Miller when he was that 5th guy last year for most of the year. So I think Richard Young will show it. And another thing with those summer enrollees, we got 4 guys coming in. I think I'll put our scholarship at 87 or 88 if you count Burnett. So either 2 or 3 guys have to go in the portal this year.
Yeah.
I was wondering for either of you guys, what guys would you see would be most likely to go in the portal? I think it's going to be some defensive lineman just because of how many players we got that position, and that's my position. I think will be there. Nick,
Thaiu Jones Bell is my main.
Oh
guy.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a senior stuff behind freshman.
And here's my thing with TJB. I think TJB just likes it here. I just think he's going to be a guy that stays. I mean, he may not contribute, but I think he's going to stay. And if you had to ask me, I think 1 defensive lineman will go. I think 1 outside linebacker will go. And I think 1 O-lineman will go. So if I had to say an O-lineman, I would say Jaden Roberts, just based off age and kind of where he is in the depth chart. If I had to go D-line, I'd probably say Anquan Barnes.
Yeah.
And then outside linebacker, to me, and as much as I hate saying it, Keanu Coate. I just don't know. I mean, I don't really know where he's going to fit in this year, especially with Keeley coming in, and him still not being a young guy. He's a redshirt sophomore. It's his 3rd year in college. So I think those 3 guys for me are the guys to look out for in terms of transferring out after the spring.
See, I did a video earlier before all this. It was a list of recruits that we might have forgot, and Anquan Barnes Jr. was one of them, and Keanu Coate was one of them. So I can see those 2.
Yeah, Keanu Coates' recruiting was an interesting story because I think him and JoJo were both committed to LSU on signing day, and then when they picked up the hat, they picked up an Alabama hat. So like Keanu, I mean, they weren't someone Alabama expected to get. And JoJo was remembered just because he played on so early. Like he had that impact early on. Keanu struggled with injuries, so obviously he's going to be in the shadows, especially when the people at your position are Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, and Chris Braswell. It's always going to be tough. But it's tough to see some guys leave, and I think that's kind of what you take when you bring guys like Darian back. I think a lot of people didn't expect Darian to come back this year, but I would do like Sutton's projection of like a Jaden Roberts, if anyone on the offensive line. I think we could see a tight end go, maybe Elijah Brown, just because of how many guys we have there.
Yeah.
And Ty Jones Bell would obviously be the one at receiver that would come to mind. And defensive line guys like maybe that are very far in the shuffle. Curtis Perry, Monkel Goodwine, just so much there that, like, will they get a chance to play? Those were guys I'd look out for. I'm not, someone's going to go. I just don't want to lose someone like Shaz or someone that really, I think, has a very, very bright future that I see playing in a year or two. There's some guys that may not play in a year or two. So
I'm gonna ask y'all about this. Cole Adams. Have y'all been hearing anything about Cole Adams? Young guy.
Yeah, he's a Blazer. Yeah, I heard he's a really fast guy. If you watch his high school tape, a lot of jet sweeps. He was utilized in. He suffered an injury later in his year that ended his high school season. Shorter guy. I think he will have an impact on special teams. I've heard he's going to be that secondary guy with Isaiah Bond on kickoffs now. Isaiah Bond instead of Emmanuel Henderson is what's been coming out. So Cole Adams will be really, I think, in that role Ja'Cory was in. So if they try to kick away from Isaiah, they'll kick to Cole, which I don't think Alabama's got a problem with.
Hey, one thing I liked about Cole Adams though, with his highlights, I like the concentration he has on the ball while it's in the air. I love that his focus, like ball to hands, like, and his speed is freaking ridiculous, man. I agree.
He's a burner.
I just haven't been hearing anything in through the media or whatever, but I seen it in the comments.
Well, thanks for having us on, Nick Saban Jr. It was a good time, man. Good talking to you.
Hey, sorry, man. I was having technical difficulties today. My computer just went out all of a sudden, and my mind had just got discombobulated after all that crap.
Well, again, thanks to everyone who tuned in and watched us. We appreciate it. We appreciate the comments and questions and everything. Look out for more stuff in the future for sure from me.
Tune in for a draft. We're going to do a draft of modern-day players. That will be one of our next few shows. We're going to see who can build the best team, and I guarantee it will be me.
No. We all know who Josh's first draft pick is going to be, too.
Amari Black. Amari Black.
Mine might be Christian Story.
Hey. That's funny.
All right. Well, it's good to see you guys. We'll see you later.
Hey, yeah. Hey, we got 15 in the chat, y'all. Make sure all y'all hit the like button on this.
Yes, sir.
And go back to the first little part. If you're new to this episode, we had one going before, but I made a mistake in ending it. So this is the part 2 of part 2. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hey, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and share with everybody. Let's get these subscribers up. I'm at 413 right now on the road to 500, so let's get it going. Look out for more work like they were saying. We're going to get some draft stuff going. We're going to have more recruitment talk. Georgia Bulldogs. Let all your other Georgia Bulldogs know. I will be going live. I'll be doing a live watch along for the G-Day game tomorrow and see who sucks the worst. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Nick Saban lives in the backyard.
Yeah, so y'all tune in tomorrow for the G-Day game. I'm going live for that game, guys.
I will say Brock Bowers is not a bum. Respect to Brock Bowers.
Yeah, Brock Bowers is a dude. He's a transformer.
Y'all.
But y'all, Roll Tide, and we out.